April 8, 1943, 27,000 feet above occupied France. The air is thin, bitterly cold. In his Focke-Wulf 190A5, Oberleutnant Ralph Hermiken of Jagdgeschwader 26 adjusts his oxygen mask. He watches them approach from the west, climbing slowly, laboriously. As the shapes resolve, he sees they are enormous, bulky aircraft. Compared to his sleek fighter, they look almost comical. He keys his radio. "My friends," he says, "the Americans have sent us flying milk bottles." Laughter echoes through German headsets. Below, 16 Republic P-47C Thunderbolts of the 4th Fighter Group strain upward. Their Pratt & Whitney R2800 engines produce 2,000 horsepower, but fight against 7 tons of weight. These are the first American fighters over Europe. Their pilots are novices. Their leader, Major Donald Blakesley, once flew Spitfires with the British. He knows they are entering the domain of the world's most experienced fighter pilots. The Germans see slow, predictable targets. What they cannot see is the future. Within those broad wings are 850 caliber Browning machine guns, 3,400 rounds, a combined rate of fire of 6,000 rounds per minute. The mathematics of destruction are loaded. The transformation begins this April morning. This aircraft was born from urgency. June 1940. France falls. The Luftwaffe rules European skies. America realizes its fighter technology is obsolete. Republic Aviation receives an urgent request: design a high-altitude interceptor to beat Germany's best. Chief designer Alexander Kartveli receives the task. Kartveli does not design a conventional fighter. The XP-47B prototype that flies on May 6, 1941, shocks observers. At 9,900 pounds empty, it is 65% heavier than its predecessor. Its radial engine is enormous, but its secret is hidden: a turbo supercharger system. Exhaust gases spin a turbine that forces dense air into the engine, allowing full power at altitudes where other fighters gasp. The aircraft is a difficult teacher. At Connecticut training bases, pilots of the 56th Fighter Group struggle under Major Hubert Hub Zemke. The P-47 ground loops on landing. Its engine torque wrenches it sideways on takeoff. In a dive, it accelerates so fast, pilots discover compressibility, shock waves that lock controls. The 56th loses 18 pilots and 41 aircraft in training. The Thunderbolt kills more Americans in training than the Luftwaffe will in early combat. Lieutenant Robert Johnson from Oklahoma describes it as strapping himself to a locomotive. You do not fly it, you aim it. Yet within this machine lies potential. It can dive faster than anything else. Its air-cooled engine can lose cylinders and keep running. Its pilot sits behind thick armor and bulletproof glass. It is built for survival. When the 4th and 56th Fighter Groups reach England in late 1942, they face veterans of Jagdgeschwader 26, men like Hauptmann Joseph Pips Priller, fighting since 1939. They fly the superb Focke-Wulf 190, armed with cannons, agile and deadly. The experience gap is vast. April and May 1943 encounters confirm German expectations. Thunderbolts cannot turn with FW-190s. They cannot match their climb at medium altitude. German tactics, Attack from below. Force turning fights. Loss reports. 14 Thunderbolts lost for 3 German kills. Priller reports. The new American fighter is meat for slaughter. It flies like a truck, turns like a freight train, climbs like a pregnant cow. But anomalies appear. Aircraft return with damage that should be fatal. One P-47 lands with over 200 holes. The engine, struck by cannon shells, still runs. The airframe absorbs punishment that would destroy lighter fighters. Durability is being tested. June 26, 1943, over France. Second Lieutenant Robert S. Johnson's Thunderbolt meets Focke-Wulf 190s of 2 JG-26. 21 20mm cannon shells strike his aircraft. Canopy shatters. Hydraulic fluid sprays. Fire erupts. Wounded, trapped by a jammed canopy, Johnson is sealed inside a dying machine at 27,000 feet. What happens becomes legend. The crippled Thunderbolt keeps flying. A German pilot closes in, fires remaining cannon shells, sees hits. The American plane shudders but flies. Repositions, empties machine guns, still flies. Pulls alongside, stares at the wreck, shakes his head, breaks away. Johnson coaxes the shattered aircraft across the channel, lands at Manston as the engine fails. Ground crews find over 200 holes, 3 of 4 main structural beams severed. The aircraft is a wreck, yet it brought its pilot home. Shockwaves follow. American engineers realized they underestimated their creation. German intelligence faces new reality. The flying milk bottle absorbs incredible punishment. American commanders rewrite tactics. Major Hub Zemke orders, do not turn with them, do not climb with them low. Use your weight, use your dive, use your guns. Boom and zoom is born. Thunderbolts climb to 30,000 feet or higher, spot enemies below, roll into vertical dives exceeding 550 miles per hour, make single slashing gun passes, then climb to safety. The P-47 becomes an aerial predator. The tactic works. German pilots accustomed to setting terms now face ambushes from above. Medium altitude becomes a killing zone. Confidence becomes caution, then concern. October 8, 1943. Oberleutnant Hans Philipp, ace with 206 victories, leads against bombers. At 28,000 feet, his Focke-Wulf is sluggish. High above, P-47s of the 56th dive from 32,000 feet. Captain Robert Johnson is there. His report: opened fire at 300 yards, observed strikes, enemy aircraft exploded, no parachute. A legend falls. The message is clear. The Schweinfurt raid of August 17, 1943, demonstrates both limitation and power. Thunderbolts can only escort to the German border. Beyond, bombers suffer terribly, but where P-47s are present, they dominate. Major David Schilling's flight encounters Messerschmitt 110 destroyers. A surviving German gunner reports, the aircraft ahead simply came apart, not shot down, destroyed, wings separated. In 2 seconds, a 110 became nothing. By late 1943, German assessments change. The laughter in ready rooms dies. A new term emerges, der Donnerschlag, the thunderclap. It refers to both engine sound and attack finality. The student has invented a new subject. Early 1944 brings evolution. The P-47 D-22 arrives with paddle blade propeller. Broad blades dramatically improve climb rate. The Jug can now climb with German fighters. External fuel tanks, 75, then 108-gallon, extend range. The aircraft can escort bombers deep into Germany. The sanctuary is violated. January 1944. Major General James Doolittle commands the 8th Air Force. His radical order: fighters must destroy the enemy air force wherever found. Thunderbolts are unleashed. They fly aggressive sweeps ahead of bombers, hunting Luftwaffe in air and on ground. War comes to the enemy's doorstep. Effects are catastrophic for German forces. Pilot losses become unsustainable. Experienced veterans die, replaced by hastily trained youngsters with minimal flight time. Average life expectancy of a new Luftwaffe pilot plummets to weeks. As longer-ranging P-51 Mustangs assume deep escort, P-47 groups transition to ground attack. Here, Thunderbolt strengths find devastating application. It becomes a superb fighter bomber, can carry 1,000-pound bombs under each wing, plus rockets. Still has 8 50-caliber guns. Ruggedness allows survival against intense ground fire. Normandy campaign showcases this role. D-Day, over 500 P-47s patrol invasion beaches. Mission: isolate battlefield, crater roads, destroy bridges, strafe vehicle columns. For German soldiers, Jabos become defining terror. Daylight movement becomes suicidal. Oberst Hans von Luck, Panzer Grenadier Commander, describes the sound: a continuous ripping tear, like giant canvas torn in sky. After passes, truck columns looked like shredded tin cans. 9th Air Force statistics stagger. June 1944 alone, P-47s destroy or damage over 6,000 motor transports, 500 armored vehicles, 200 locomotives, 3,000 railway cars. Sorties so numerous that ammunition supply becomes major logistics operation. The P-47 proves equally formidable in Pacific theater. The 348th Fighter Group in New Guinea adapts tactics for vast distances. October 11, 1943, Colonel Neil Kirby leads 4 P-47s against 40 Japanese aircraft over WWII, shoots down 6, earns Medal of Honor. Japanese ace Saburo Sakai writes, "We called them monsters. Our cannon seemed to have no effect. I put dozens of rounds into one Thunderbolt and watched it fly away. Their return fire tore aircraft apart." Special Pacific variant P-47N features increased fuel capacity. Wet wings holding 93 gallons each. Range extends to 2,350 miles. This variant will escort B-29s to Japan, proving the short-legged fighter of 1943 evolved into true long-range weapon. Perhaps ultimate vindication comes against German jets. Messerschmitt Me 262, with 540 mph top speed, should be untouchable. But Thunderbolt pilots discover they can catch jets during takeoff, landing, or in high-speed dives from altitude. November 27, 1944. Lieutenant Colonel John C. Meyer of 352nd Fighter Group becomes among first to shoot down Me 262 with P-47. Diving from 28,000 feet, His Thunderbolt reaches speeds approaching 500 miles per hour, fast enough to catch jet in level flight. His report: enemy aircraft disintegrated under fire, large pieces including both engines separated. Specialized P-47M variants deploy early 1945 to counter jets and V-1 flying bombs. With water methanol injection boosting power to 2,800 horsepower and refined aerodynamics, these ultimate Thunderbolts reach 470 miles per hour at 30,000 feet, fast enough to intercept jets under certain conditions. Major George Bostwick, commanding 63rd Fighter Squadron with P-47Ms, shoots down two Me-262s in March 1945. His tactical report emphasizes, jets are faster, but they can't turn and can't take punishment. One good burst from our battery and they come apart like paper. They must slow to attack bombers. That's when we get them. Ultimate demonstration of American industrial might. Operation Bodenplatte, January 1st, 1945. Luftwaffe's desperate attempt to destroy Allied air power. Nearly 900 German fighters, including best remaining pilots, launched surprise attacks on Allied airfields across Belgium and Netherlands. At Y-34 airfield near Metz, home to 365th Fighter Group's P-47s, attack initially succeeds. German fighters destroyed 22 Thunderbolts on ground. A captured German pilot brought to command post gestures at burning aircraft, taunts, "What do you think of that?" Major George Brooking's response becomes legend. He points to where ground crews already clear wreckage, prepare for replacements. "By tomorrow," he says, "we'll have 40 new ones. How long will it take you to replace your pilots?" The Germans' defiance fades. Within 48 hours, factory-fresh P-47D-40s fill the flight line, flown from depots in England. Operation Bodenplatte costs Luftwaffe 271 aircraft and 213 pilots, many irreplaceable instructors, squadron leaders. Allies lose 134 aircraft total across all attacked fields, all replaced within week. Numbers tell story of inevitable defeat. Production numbers defy comprehension. Republic Aviation produces 15,683 P-47s during war, more than any other American fighter. At peak, Farmingdale Factory on Long Island completes one Thunderbolt every hour. Evansville Plant in Indiana, built from empty farmland in 1942, produces 500 aircraft monthly by 1944. Each P-47D requires 65,000 individual parts, 8 miles of electrical wiring, 2,000 pounds of aluminum, 300 pounds of rubber. Engine alone contains 2,400 components machined to thousandth of inch tolerances. American workers, many women who never saw aircraft before Pearl Harbor, assemble these complex machines with precision exceeding peacetime standards. Ammunition production staggers. Each P-47 sortie requires 3,450 caliber rounds. With hundreds of Thunderbolts flying daily missions, consumption exceeds 10 million rounds monthly by mid-1944. Lake City Arsenal in Missouri produces 30 million rounds monthly. Each cartridge manufactured to 10,000th inch tolerances, ensuring reliable feeding. Fuel consumption. Each Thunderbolt burns 100 gallons hourly normally, up to 300 in combat with water injection. 9th Air Force alone consumes over 25 million gallons of aviation fuel monthly by late 1944. All shipped across Atlantic in tankers themselves, products of American mass production. Pilot training proves equally decisive. By 1944, United States graduates 30,000 pilots annually from advanced training, more than Germany trained in entire war. Each P-47 pilot receives minimum 400 flight hours before combat, including 100 in advanced fighters. German pilots, by contrast, enter combat with less than 100 total hours by war's end. Lieutenant Eugene Roberts, arriving England, September 1944, exemplifies American training advantage. "I had 420 hours in my logbook," he says, including 75 in the P-47. "I'd fired at towed targets, practiced deflection shooting, studied gun camera film from actual combat. My first mission, I knew what to do. The German pilot I faced couldn't have had half my experience. It wasn't even fair fight." March 1945. Oberstleutnant Joseph Priller, same pilot who mocked P-47s as pregnant cows 2 years earlier, is interviewed by German propaganda officials. His statement, deemed too demoralizing for publication, reveals complete transformation in German attitudes. "The Thunderbolt is best fighter bomber ever built," Priller says. "Firepower unprecedented. Weapons that never jam, never overheat, never run out of ammunition in normal combat. It carries bombs like medium bomber, fires rockets like artillery, fights like fighter when needed." But beyond machine is what it represents: unlimited American production. They lose 10, they build 20. We lose 1, it's gone forever. Their pilots arrive better trained than our instructors. They have fuel for training, ammunition for practice, spare parts for everything. We have nothing but courage, and courage without resources is just delayed defeat. We laughed at them in 1943. We're not laughing now. When you hear those guns, you know death has come calling. The sound haunts us, mechanical, precise, unstoppable. Like everything American, it's about overwhelming material superiority. They didn't beat us through better tactics or braver pilots. They buried us under avalanche of steel and lead. By April 1945, Luftwaffe exists largely on paper. Fuel shortages ground most aircraft, experienced pilots dead or captured, airfields cratered ruins. But even with aircraft and fuel, German pilots face impossible equation. Attacking means facing P-47 formations that own every altitude, from ground level to 40,000 feet. Feldwebel Klaus Brettschneider, among last German pilots trained in 1945, flies exactly 1 combat mission before war ends. His encounter with P-47s over Leipzig lasts 12 seconds. "I saw them diving from above," he recalls. 4 Thunderbolts in perfect formation. I tried to turn, but they were too fast. Leader fired from 500 meters. My aircraft shook like hit by sledgehammers. Engine exploded, wings separated. I barely escaped. In parachute, I watched them destroy my entire staffel. 6 fighters gone in under minute. Sky rained burning aluminum and bodies. Psychological impact becomes complete. German pilots develop what medical officers call jabo fever, physical stress symptoms when Thunderbolts are reported. Veterans who faced Spitfires and Hurricanes without fear become physically ill before missions against P-47s. Final statistics defy comprehension. In Europe, 3,752 German aircraft destroyed in aerial combat. 3,315 aircraft destroyed on ground. 86,000 railway cars destroyed. 9,000 locomotives, 6,000 armored fighting vehicles, 68,000 trucks, 60,000 horse-drawn vehicles. In Pacific, 697 Japanese aircraft destroyed in air, 150 on ground, 1,500 vehicles, 150 locomotives, countless barges, ships, installations. 9th Air Force alone flies 213,873 combat sorties, drops 120,000 tons of bombs, fires 135 million rounds of ammunition, launches 60,000 rockets. Thunderbolt units achieve 4.6 to 1 kill ratio in aerial combat, while maintaining lowest loss rate of any Allied fighter-bomber. Behind numbers, human cost. Luftwaffe loses approximately 28,000 pilots killed against Western allies. Many fall to concentrated fire of American heavy machine guns. Each loss represents years of training Germany cannot replace. By war's end, average German fighter pilot has less than 30 hours combat experience. Average P-47 pilot has over 200. At Luftwaffe Interrogation Center Oberursel, captured Allied pilots are debriefed. Records captured in 1945 revealed German assessments of P-47, updated continuously throughout war. April 1943, large, unmaneuverable fighter. Inferior to German types in all performance parameters except dive speed. Machine gun armament insufficient against cannon-armed fighters. Assessment, minimal threat. December 1943. Exceptional high-altitude performance. Extreme structural strength. Firepower increasingly problematic. Pilots showing improved tactics. Assessment, significant threat above 25,000 feet. June 1944. Dominant fighter-bomber. Superior to all German types above 20,000 feet. Firepower devastating against all target types. Structural strength makes shoot-down extremely difficult. Assessment, critical threat at all altitudes. March 1945. Best fighter-bomber of war. Combination of firepower, durability, and performance unmatched. Pilot quality exceptional. Assessment, unsurvivable in direct engagement. 1985 reunion in Phoenix, Arizona. German and American fighter pilots meet in peace. General Adolf Galland, former head of Luftwaffe fighter arm, is asked about P-47. "We made terrible mistake in 1943, Galland says. "We saw this big heavy fighter and laughed. Americans don't understand air combat, we said. They built bomber and called it fighter. We were ones who didn't understand. Americans didn't try to build European fighter. They built American one designed around production, firepower, survivability. They understood that in war of attrition, plane that could take punishment and deliver devastating firepower would win. They were right. First time I flew captured P-47 after war, I understood everything. Power incredible. It climbed like falling upward, cockpit comfortable, visibility excellent, controls precise, pilots aircraft wrapped in armor. But what really impressed me was realizing America built over 15,000 of these complex machines while fighting two-ocean war. Each required engine more complex than anything Germany produced. Yet they built them faster than we could build simple fighters. That's when I knew we never had chance. Those guns, we called them Roosevelt's piano because of sound they made. Once you heard that sound, you never forgot it. Many of my friends heard it for last time. P-47 didn't just defeat Luftwaffe, it destroyed it. The P-47 Thunderbolt remains heaviest single-engine piston fighter ever mass-produced. Its empty weight, 10,000 pounds, exceeded gross weight of some twin-engine fighters. Its engine produced more power than entire bomber formations from previous war. Its weapons delivered more firepower than squad of infantry. Yet it was built by thousands, flown by young men barely out of high school, maintained under combat conditions by mechanics who learned trade in weeks. Transformation of German opinion from mockery to terror took less than 2 years. In that time, flying milk bottle became most feared aircraft in Luftwaffe experience. Veterans who faced Spitfires, Hurricanes, Soviet Yaks without flinching spoke of P-47s in hushed tones decades after war. At United States Air Force Museum in Dayton, Ohio, restored P-47D sits among legendary fighters. Its placard lists specifications, battle honors. But real story is told by small display case containing spent .50 caliber shells and strip of gun camera film showing Focke-Wulf 190 disintegrating under fire. Below display, quote from unnamed German pilot, taken from 1945 interrogation report. We laughed when we first saw them. Fat, ugly American fighters that couldn't turn, couldn't climb, couldn't fight. We stopped laughing when we realized they didn't need to turn or climb. They just pointed those guns at you and you ceased to exist. The laughter died with our comrades. The Republic P-47 Thunderbolt entered combat as object of derision. It ended war as instrument of annihilation. In between, 8 synchronized Browning machine guns rewrote rules of aerial warfare and buried Luftwaffe under avalanche of lead. German pilots laughed at ungainly American fighter in April 1943. By May 1945, there were no German pilots left to laugh. The thunder had spoken, and the sky belonged to America.